Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this Sunday evening video. I hope you've had a great day. I want to go ahead and say this at the beginning of the video, that way I don't have to say it at the end of the video. But if you subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on the bell for notifications, you'll see videos like this pop up more frequently, likely, than just from the email that we send out. Also, if you're on Facebook and you're watching this and you think you see something encouraging that might encourage somebody else, I ask that you share it. That way other people can see it. Brian puts out a lot of great stuff on Sundays, and I think it would be great if everybody could see that. This morning, though, I don't know if everybody felt it, but I surely felt it. But the consequences of daylight savings time. I definitely suffered the consequences. I was tired already last night before I went to bed, and then I knew that if I didn't go to bed early enough, I would be even more tired this morning. However, last night there was a Western Kentucky University basketball game. They made it to the Conference USA Championship, so I was like, I probably need to stay up and watch this. This is a good opportunity for them, and it'd be cool to see them win. Well, the game goes into overtime, so I'm having to stay up even later. It wasn't crazy late, but it was still later than I had wanted to. And then they lost. So I was upset that they lost, so I couldn't fall asleep. And as I'm not being able to fall asleep, I'm getting anxious that I'm going to sleep in when I finally do fall asleep. So as I'm getting more anxious, it makes it even harder for me to fall asleep. And I know that all of this is going to culminate in losing an hour of sleep, which is just unfortunate. Thankfully, my alarms did go off and I didn't sleep in too much, but daylight savings stinks. Time is such a weird thing, and that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about this evening. It's a currency we all spend differently. We sometimes spend it in the same way. Sometimes there's not enough time. Sometimes stuff takes too much time. Sometimes it's time to go. It's time to stay. It's time to take a bath. It's time to do whatever. Time flies. Time and time again. Time is of the essence. Time is everywhere. I have a horrible concept of time. I mean, I understand how clocks work and stuff, but if you tell me that I need to be somewhere at a certain time, there's a good chance that I'll be there 30 minutes early or as the bell is ringing. Time is a fickle thing. We all have it, but at the end of the day, we all wish we had more. As spring approaches and warm weather is more constant, I find myself thinking about how I'm going to spend my time outside. I might go for a jog around my neighborhood more often. I might go out in my shop and do some woodworking because it's going to be finally warm enough to where I can feel my hands. I might ride my bike out on some trails somewhere. As spring approaches, we realize it really is a beautiful season. It's new life. It feels like it's a breath of fresh air to just lift our spirits. For me, it's always a time of the year when I find myself motivated to get more stuff done. Spring just makes me happy. I'm reminded of a passage in Ecclesiastes 3 that I'm going to read to you guys here in a second. But Solomon reminds us that there is a season for everything. If you will, let's read. Ecclesiastes 3 verses 1 through 8. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to tear and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. There really is a time for everything. As we reflect on 2020 and the last year, we can look at this passage and we can see all of the bad times, the time to die and a time to weep and a time to mourn and a time to refrain from embracing. We weren't even allowed to hug each other in the last year. It's crazy to me that literally every person can agree that 2020 was a bad time. And though we can reflect on the badness of it, it also allows us to look forward to the good times. It allows us to appreciate the good times even more. As we look forward, as we look past this coronavirus mess and the vaccines are coming out and people are becoming immune to the virus and whatnot. I don't know how it all works, but we're getting to a point where this bad stuff isn't going to be the thing that overwhelms us. We're going to have more moments of laughter and eventually we're actually going to be able to embrace and hug and not have to worry about this. However, the frustrating part about living here on earth is that there's still going to be bad stuff sprinkled in with the good stuff. Even though there's peace, there's still going to be war. Even though there's love, there's still going to be hate. And that kind of just soils the experience, doesn't it? As I read this passage, I'm looking forward to the day when I don't have to deal with all the bad stuff that Solomon mentions. We've all got brothers and sisters we know that might have been family members who've passed on before us, and right now they're getting to experience this. We know that one day we'll be able to join them and embrace them. One day we'll get to just enjoy all the good things that God has provided for us. To me, it's hard to believe that it's already halfway through March. But as spring approaches, I want you to think about how you're going to spend your time. And I hope that you spend your time in prayer, thanking God for the good, thanking Him that one day you're going to get to spend eternity with Him, not having to worry about all of the bad things. Reflect on the last year and hope that as we move forward, we get to experience these positive things. And when negative occurrences happen in our life, we're able to remember that God provides good for us. And as we're the recipients of the good, we too can be a light for others. Thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you've had a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.